Hi there, this is a video to show you how to make this little cupcake box that I've made. What you need to start with is you're going to need one of these drinking cups, and you're going to need a polystyrene ball. The polystyrene ball is 70 millimeters in diameter, which I've cut in half like this using my craft knife. And then the cup itself you need to cut down so that it is about 5 centimeters or 2 inches tall, and you just cut it down so that you have a half of the ball and a half of the cup. And the first thing you're going to need to do is to cut a strip of scrapbook paper that's stripy. This is for the base of the cupcake, and you need to cut it at 2 inches or 5 centimeters by 12 inches or 30 centimeters. Then you're going to need to take your scoreboard or a scoring tool and score it every 1/4 of an inch, just lightly. So every 1/4 of an inch. Now you can get a rosette die that you could use to do this, but you'd need to check that it's 2 inches wide. So you just keep scoring every 1/4 of an inch, and you'll find that it starts to curl up. Don't worry, that's normal. And you score all the way along every 1/4 of an inch. You're then going to need to fold this, and you fold it back and forth concertina style on top of each other. And just keep folding and pressing. You don't need to use a bone folder or a scorer to do this. Just fold it back and forth on your fingers and it will be fine. So once you have your ruffle complete, you need to take your hot glue gun and run a straight line down the cup just to secure the first end, which you secure like this, and then take it all the way around. Make sure it fits, and then run a zigzag of glue all the way around the cup, just to make sure it catches in all the areas you want it to catch, and then just place it round. And then when you get to the end, put another straight line down and secure the final piece. And that creates the cupcake base and stands flat. Then the next thing you need to do is, from your designer scrapbook paper, like this, you will have cut a circle that fits the base of your styrofoam half. Now I used a thinlit die to do this. This was a 2.5 inch thinlit die that fits perfectly across. But you can use a circle punch or draw around the circle and cut it out. And you will need to use hot glue to attach the paper to the foam, because for some reason the styrofoam doesn't like sticking with other glues, and so I use hot glue on the styrofoam. So just put a nice blob across and then stick your circle down on top. And that covers it beautifully, and you'll find that it fits nicely on top of the cupcake. The next part of the thing you need to do is, from your scrapbook paper, you're going to use a flower punch to punch out about 70 little flowers. So here's some I did earlier. The next step with these flowers is that you want to ink the edges. Now you can do them all individually, but that can take some time. And so the simplest thing to do is to get your ink pad. I'm using a slightly darker ink, and gather up a few of the punched out flowers and take a sponge dabber and just dab around the edge like this. And as you can see, that just covers the edges so that you don't get white edges on your flowers. You don't have to do this, I just think it makes them look prettier. And again, just gather up a wodge and decorate the edges. Once you've finished decorating the edges of your punched out flowers, push them to one side, and then you're going to need a foam mat, because you're going to take about 10 or 15 of them, and you want them to just be laid out on the mat, and you're going to use a stylus or tool just to fluff them up a little bit. These are the flowers that will go on the top of the cupcake, and so you want them to be a little bit more puffed up, and if you gently just push on the end, they come up and the petals all curl. Alternatively, you can use the end of a glue just to push them down into the foam mat. If you have a glue that's the right size, you can just push them down, just so that they're a little bit more 3D and dimensional, because you don't want them fully flat. Put those to one side. Then you're going to take your dome that you've already stuck the scrapbook paper to the bottom of, and you're going to need some of these pins. These are called sequins lil pins. They're like normal dressmaking pins, but they're quite short. You can buy them in craft shops, and using the flowers that you haven't curled, just put one on the mat and push the pin in like this, just a little bit, and then push it into the polystyrene foam. And what we're going to be doing is going all the way around the bottom layer where the styrofoam meets the scrapbook paper that you've already stuck down. And you want to have a uniform circle that covers the whole of the dome. So now you can see that I have used the pins to secure the petals all the way around, and now I'm just going to fill in the top layer, again using the flat petals, not the ones that I've shaped up, and you just stick them in any old random pattern, just so that you cover up as much of the foam as you can. I tend to go across and then fill in the cross. So if you just see. Once your dome is covered, that's when you can then use the ones that you have fluffed up. And I find it easier to poke those with the pin on the foam mat, and then just put the pin in a little bit and finish it off as you push it in. And you're just going to carry on putting more flowers on. And here we have the finished top, which then just sits on top of your box. You can make a small card to go with it. But there you have it. One cupcake box. Thank you for watching.